Hello and welcome. I'm going to do a quick video here on this Boros pump deck that I put together. The idea behind it was get out some good creatures and boost them in one way or the other, or pump them up in one way or the other. So decided to go with Boros colors for that. Really like my Emberclave, so I was kind of gave me the idea behind the deck. I know there's been similar decks out there, so I run 4 Healer's Hawks, more just for the life gain, help buy me time to get my stuff set up. 4 God's Willings for protection, 3 Samut's Sprint, which is my first pump spell in the deck, a couple of Shocks here for low toughness creature removal. Hushbringer has been one of the MVPs of the deck. Its ability to shut down EBT triggers has been awesome, for sure. And I'll put my win rate against other decks I've played in the description of the video, so you can kind of see what my win rates have been against some of the decks I've played against, some of the more popular decks out there, Witch's Oven, Risen Reef, that kind of stuff, and the other matches I've played. So a couple Swiftblade Vindicator is a great card to target with some of that pump. A couple of Krenkos, and again, another card that I wanted to target with some of the pump. So Tajik to help do the pump and protect my other creatures when they're on the battlefield. Feather the Redeemed doesn't really fit in the deck super well. You can get recursion from God's Willing and Samut Sprint, but it's, I may end up dropping it. Not a ton of a need for it there. It's not that it's bad, but yeah, it's Prison Realm for some removal pieces there. Angelic Exaltation, probably the best pump in the deck. I probably want to run more copies of it when I have got it out in a couple of my matches. It's been really impactful. Outlaws Merriment, Creature Factory. Wanted to throw a couple copies in there. I mean, it helps boost the Angelic Exaltation because it's creating more creatures for you. So it pairs well with that. And then 2 Emberclaves. That being legendary, didn't really want to run more than that. Couple of Castle Ardenvale, 7. A couple of plains and mountains, and then some Shockland. Again, I'll put my win rate against. I only include 2 matches in this video. So I'll put my win rate against some of the decks that I didn't get recordings on, just so you can kind of see how well it's fared against several of the various decks out there. Yeah, my first match is against a kind of like a Planeswalker-ish, Golos Planeswalker-ish deck. And Hushbringer really does some work on this one. Another God's Willing. I have come across quite a few matches where I've kind of mana screwed myself, but that's neither here nor there. That happens to everybody. Here I get the Hushbringer out, which you'll see definitely a great card if you can keep it alive. One of the reasons I've got the God's Willing in there. Doesn't necessarily fit with the theme of the rest of the deck, but it just does so well against so many decks. It's even paid off for me in against Simic Flash matchups where they try to drop a wolf to take out my stuff. The EBT shutdown is just really awesome. Yeah, EBT enter the battlefield. ETB, sorry. They drop the Serpent. I end up Prison Realming the Serpent. Get that out of the way. Don't want that to be too much of a problem for my flyers. Here they drop the Karn, which I haven't seen him a lot since War of the Spark first came out, but really cool card. Starting to see him a little bit more in some of the artifact decks. There's their Golos that they go pull out and find. I dropped the Outlaw's Merriment here to get me some creature generation. So whatever they were trying to find with the Golos, the Hushbringer shut it down. Which you don't see a lot of people play the Hushbringer, but it's just been such a rock star for me in several of the matches I've had. I really like the card. Plus the flying and lifelink ain't bad. Little bit of evasion, little bit of lifelink's always nice. So here I'm just trying to decide what I wanted to drop. You know, my initial thought was to go with Feather, but my hesitation was, you know, I'm not keeping a white mana open to protect anything with my God's Willings. So I debated on dropping something else, but I ended up settling on the Feather. Good old Oko. I'm glad they didn't hit the Hushbringer there. Again, the Feather's just not that vital to the deck. I mean, it's a good card, but it's not that vital. Here, I thought they were going to hit the Hushbringer, but instead they just started turning some of their artifacts into 3/3 creatures. Threw down another Hushbringer. And then just went after Oko. Really just trying to keep those planeswalkers from becoming too much of a problem, especially Oko. But here, Outlaw's Merriment's getting me going. And eventually I get out an Angelic Exaltation. Which I think is here on this next turn. And they got out the Sphinx to deal with my flyers. But the Angelic Exaltation really helped me deal with that. And there she is. This I would have been in a really tight spot with that, dealing with that Sphinx without that card. So here to protect their Oko, they block with the Sphinx. Plus that's 7, 7 lifelink right there, which is nice. So this game, pretty pretty rough stalemate so far, but I mean they could easily start swinging with their creatures, but I've got plenty of chump blockers with because of the Outlaw's Merriment. Here they go after the Blast Zone, which if I was them, I would have targeted the Hushbringers because they're my flyers, they're my evasion. They're what's causing all the problems for them right now. But they end up going up to 4 and taking out my enchantments, my Outlaw's Merriment, and my Angelic Exaltation, which was okay by me. Here they try and swap, but here's where the God's Willing comes in so handy. I've already got another one in my hand, so holding that back isn't a problem. They sacrifice their own Oko for that, which, awesome. I'm all for. Here I'm just trying to get as many of these creatures out as I can so I can swing in with the Hushbringer and the Angelic Exaltation for a lot of damage. Now, even with them taking out my enchantments, my board is big enough. They just don't have it unless they got a sweeper. My board's just too big. I think had they had a sweeper, that would have just put me in a tough spot. Luckily, I've got 42 life at this point. They've only got 4. I was in a pretty good situation to where if I needed to rebuild, I could. And I'm real. There goes the enchantments, but again, at this point, my board's big enough that I'm in a really good spot. I think the opponent ends up scooping it here in a second. Kind of a long, drawn out match there, but you can kind of see some of the versatility of the deck in that match. I believe this match here is against mono green. And not a bad starting hand. I had my mana, and I had enough creatures to at least do something. So I decided to go with it. get the Hushbringer down. That way, if they have any wolves they try and fight me with, I'm good to go. I like the art on the Hushbringer as well. Pretty cool. Surprised they haven't dropped anything yet. I was pretty surprised they hadn't dropped anything yet. Um, Threw out a Krenko. I probably could have thrown out a Tajik to be a little bit more aggressive, but didn't need it at this point. Good old questing beast. So here I threw out Tajik, and having the Samut Sprint as a backup to take out the questing beast if they decided to block, which I believe they did. And yeah, it took out my Krenko, but I've got another one. I still got a bunch of tokens, and I got rid of their questing beast, so definitely a trade I was more than happy to make. And I've also got the Emberclave kind of chilling back there. So there's the Nullhide Ferrix, but it's got the here I just had a huge brain fart and dropped the Prison Realm. It's like, oh yeah, hexproof, duh. Which was really dumb on my part. Yeah, the Emberclave would have been a better play there, but that's all right. You know, those flying life linkers, super nice to keep me in a game. Plus, I've got a, you know, in this situation, I'm in a really good place. I got chump blockers with my tokens. I don't even think I decided to block at all here. It's like I'm going to gain some life on the next turn, see what they drop out. Bark-eyed Troll. See, I shouldn't have, yeah. Here I wait. And I think I finally get in the Emberclave. Probably could have still attacked with the Tajik, but decided not to. Possibly a misplay on my part, but I didn't want to lose him. But I guess I probably wouldn't have lost him in that situation if I would have used the Emberclave on him. So it's definitely a misplay on my part. But this gets rid of his Grazer here. I gain some more life. Get it a little bit more damage in. The Mammoth, giving everything trample. Good card. I decided to chump block with the, or not chump block, but use the 3 tokens here to get rid of the Barkhide Troll. One less thing to worry about, one less attacker, one less blocker I've got to worry about. With everything having trample, there was no point in trying to block the No-Hide Ferrex. Eventually, you'll see me, once we get a little bit further into the game, you'll see me drop the Emberclave onto the Tajik, and I'm pretty sure that's how I end up winning the match. So they've got 14 damage staring me in the face unless I, block here, which is obviously a tough situation. I feel like they throw down something else that makes it put a little bit more pressure on me and makes me almost have to choose to chump block with something. Ah, that's right, the Shifting Ceratops. So they throw that in there. They give it haste. It's already got trample. Or they don't give it haste or trample. They keep it back as a blocker. I do end up chump blocking here, I think, with the Grinko. Like, just in case they're going to, like, beef this, that 2 damage may make or break me. Just being cautious. But this left me open. They didn't notice it, and I almost didn't notice it either, but this left me open for the kill. Without them casting anything else, I was able to move the Emberclave over to the Tajik, which gives it 4 toughness with double strike. That with the Mentor gave me enough for the kill. Plus, I had a shock in hand as for good measure that I ended up not needing. So here I'm kind of thinking it through, like, wait a minute, can I get the kill? So I decide that yes, I can. Let's move this over. And obviously they had to block the Tajik because, yeah, they can give their Ceratops reach, but with Tajik having the double strike, like, that's game. If they don't block it, but it ends up being game even with them blocking it, which was nice. I was just waiting to see if they had, I don't know, some sort of flash or something. Creature that, I know there's one, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but that fox that has flash and reach. And so, yeah, pretty cool little sequence there. A little bit of a longer matchup, but a fun matchup nonetheless. So here's one last look at the deck. Let me know what you think of it. Again, I'll post my win rates against various decks that I've played against in testing in the description of the video if you're interested in looking at that. But thanks for watching and have a good one.